Okay, so get ready for this deep dive. We're diving into the world of Fernanda Torres.
Fernanda Torres, yeah.
A Brazilian actress who is really, I mean, she's making waves internationally.
Right.
And what's really fascinating is both she and her mother, Fernanda Montenegro, were nominated for Oscars.
Oh, wow.
26 years apart. For roles that really reflect Brazil's tumultuous political history, it's kind of like their careers are woven into the fabric of Brazil's story.
They really do go beyond just individual achievements, you know?
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see how they reflect Brazil's kind of this ongoing struggle with political upheaval and the fight for human rights and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm Still Here, which is the film we're going to be focusing on today.
Right.
It embodies this struggle. It tells the true story of Eunice Paiva searching for her husband after he was abducted by the military regime during Brazil's dictatorship.
It's a story that strikes a chord on multiple levels. I mean, you've got personal loss, you've got this unwavering resilience, and the pursuit of truth in the face of incredible odds. Fernanda Torres' portrayal of Eunice Paiva has been praised for its authenticity, especially how she captures that kind of quiet desperation of Eunice's search. What are your thoughts on her performance?
Well, I'm so interested in, before we dive into her performance, I want to know more about Fernanda Torres' background. So born in 1965 to very well-known actors, Fernanda Montenegro and Fernando Torres.
Right.
She was literally immersed in this world of the arts.
From day one.
From day one. I mean, talk about, do you think that pushed her towards acting? Or did it instill kind of a sense of pressure?
Oh, yeah.
To live up to this, I mean,
it's hard to say for sure, but growing up in that environment must have undeniably shaped her. But it wasn't just about art. You know, imagine being a child in 1970s Brazil.
Oh my gosh.
A period marked by intense political unrest, military dictatorship. You know, artists and intellectuals like her parents faced censorship and oppression. It was a
heavy time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so for her to be exposed to, you know, she was exposed to the beauty of theater, cinema, but also this very charged political atmosphere. Do you think that affected her worldview? Or just even her artistic choices later on?
It's highly likely. You know, it's often said that art thrives in times of turmoil, right? It becomes a form of resistance, a way to kind of process these complex emotions and challenge oppressive systems. So, you know, it's not surprising if she absorbed those ideas early on and they kind of manifested in her work later.
Right, and we know that she started acting at Teatro Tablado at 13 years old. 13?
Talk about dedication. I mean,
incredible.
That level of immersion at such a young age really speaks volumes. It's like a family tradition being passed down in a way, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So let's fast forward to I'm Still Here.
Yeah.
How do you think the film connects to her personal experiences?
Yeah.
You know, growing up in this very turbulent period.
Well, I mean, the film's portrayal of Eunice Paiva tirelessly searching for her husband after he's abducted by the military regime, it really mirrors the struggles many faced during that time. Were there any scenes in the film that particularly resonated with you?
Well, you know, I found the scene where Eunice confronts a former official, like, so powerful. It was just like the way that Torres conveyed her, you know, the grief, anger, and determination. It was
a truly captivating performance.
It was.
You know, critics have also noted how she captures the nuanced emotions of someone who's navigating personal loss amidst this political turmoil. You know, it feels like she's almost channeling like a collective experience of shared trauma that goes beyond just the individual.
Totally. It's like, you know, it goes beyond acting. It's like she's embodying the spirit of a generation that lived through these dark times.
Exactly.
So speaking of impactful performances, let's talk about the recognition she's received for this role. So we have a Golden Globe win.
A Golden Globe.
The first for a Brazilian actress.
Wow.
And an Oscar nomination.
That's incredible.
It's huge.
It's remarkable. And the timing is quite interesting, you know. This Oscar nom comes 26 years after her mother was nominated for Central Station, another film that's deeply rooted in Brazilian life. It's almost like she's continuing a legacy, don't you think?
Yeah.
Bringing these poignant Brazilian stories to a global audience.
It's amazing to see how their careers have unfolded. The Torres Montenegro family, they're so highly respected.
Oh, yeah.
In Brazilian cinema, they're seen as these storytellers that really bring Brazil's heart and soul to the world stage.
Yeah, Fernanda Montenegro, often called the first lady of Brazilian theater. She really paved the way. Growing up with that kind of influence must have had a huge impact on Fernanda's career. I wonder how much of the initial attention that she received was due to her family name and how she navigated that to kind of forge her own path.
It's like that double-edged sword, right?
It is.
But she's definitely proven her own talent and her own, this Oscar nomination, it's not about legacy.
No.
It's about her earning her place in the spotlight.
Absolutely. And that spotlight shines on I'm Still Here as well,
Yeah.
This recognition brings attention to a really dark chapter in Brazilian history.
Yeah.
And the enduring spirit of those who fought for justice,
Yeah.
Do you think this kind of international recognition helps raise awareness about these human rights issues?
Mm-hmm.
Or does it run the risk of sort of sanitizing these complex realities for a global audience?
It's a good question.
It's an interesting question to consider.
It is. I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
There's that risk. But at the end of the day, this film is definitely giving a voice to the voiceless and keeping these stories alive. And it makes you think about the power of art to illuminate history and, maybe even push for change a little bit.
I'm Still Here is a testament to human resilience and the ongoing quest for justice.
Mm-hmm.
But it also raises a question for us.
Okay.
What can we learn from Eunice Paiva's story, and how does it connect to these broader themes of human rights and political accountability?
It's a big question.
It is.
It's worth exploring.
Yeah.
And, the film's ending, I thought, was particularly poignant. It shows Eunice finally receiving this official acknowledgement of her husband's death after decades of searching. So, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a bittersweet victory, isn't it? The truth is finally recognized.
Yeah.
But it doesn't erase the pain and the loss,
Yeah.
It reminds us that there's always this human cost to political violence and oppression, a cost that lingers long after the events themselves.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, it does highlight the long-lasting effects of these types of events.
Right.
And the film doesn't shy away from showing, the messy reality.
It's not, you're right, it's not a simple story of good versus evil or anything like that.
Right.
It digs deep into how political violence impacts individuals and families for years, even decades afterwards.
And it doesn't stop there.
No, it doesn't.
The film goes on to show Eunice becoming this, human rights advocate.
Yes, it does.
Oh,
instead of letting that trauma define her, she channels her experience into fighting for justice for others,
Yeah.
She refuses to be silenced.
It's really, her resilience is...
Oh, it's incredible.
So inspiring. What do you think, what can we learn from Eunice's story? Both her personal journey, but also how it's portrayed in I'm Still Here.
Yeah, there are so many layers to unpack here. But I think, first and foremost, it underscores how crucial these personal stories are in understanding these larger historical events, We often hear about dictatorships and human rights abuses.
Right, it's very abstract.
Very abstractly, but I'm Still Here.
Yeah.
Makes it tangible. It puts a human face on the consequences.
It makes it real and relatable.
Exactly.
This could be anyone's mother, anyone's husband.
Absolutely.
Facing this type of injustice.
And that emotional connection is so powerful, It fosters empathy, it fosters understanding, and I think it compels us to kind of confront this issue of accountability as well.
Right.
How can societies truly reckon with these past injustices and ensure that they don't happen again?
Right, and that's a crucial question that Brazil is still grappling with today, and I think, this film's release, especially with all the attention that it's received with Torres' Oscar nom, I think could definitely contribute to keeping that conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
And so...
You've hit on a key takeaway here.
Yeah.
Art has this power not only to reflect history, but to shape it.
Yeah.
It can be a catalyst for change.
Let's circle back to Fernanda Torres for a moment.
Yeah.
So, obviously, this Oscar nomination is a significant personal achievement.
Oh, yeah.
For her, do we know how she reacted to it?
From what I've read, she was deeply moved. It seemed to go beyond just personal pride. It was about representing Brazil, carrying on her family's legacy.
Right. I mean, it makes sense given her background and her upbringing and her, it's quite remarkable that both mother and daughter have received Oscar nominations.
26 years apart.
It really speaks volumes, doesn't it? To their talent and the profound impact they've had on Brazilian cinema and culture. It's like they're not just actors, they're
just storytellers.
Storytellers, yeah.
They're sharing Brazil's heart and soul with the world.
And Fernanda Torres in particular, I mean, it seems like she really chooses roles.
She does.
That deeply resonate with audiences.
I think that probably goes back to her upbringing, her first-hand experience with all the complexities of Brazilian society,
Right.
She brings that lived experience to her performances.
It's not just acting, it's a form of, activism in a way.
Yeah.
She's really using her platform.
It is.
To raise awareness about these crucial issues on this global stage.
It's a great example of how art can transcend borders and connect with people on this human level.
Yeah.
It reminds us of the universality of these struggles, regardless of our background or where we come from.
So we've talked about Fernanda Torres' background.
Right.
We've talked about I'm Still Here's impact, the legacy of her family. But before we wrap up, there's one more thing I want to touch upon.
I'm all ears.
So, Fernanda Torres didn't just act in I'm Still Here.
Right.
She really embraced the story.
Yeah.
And its message, and she seems to connect so deeply
It does.
with these themes of resilience and resistance,
And what's so fascinating is that this connection transcends the film itself.
Yeah.
We're seeing this broader trend, especially among younger generations, of artists using their platform to advocate for social justice, to challenge those in power.
So it brings us back to you, the listener. What stands out to you about Fernanda Torres' story? What resonates with you the most? Is it the power of art to shed light on this really difficult history? Or is it the inspiration of Eunice Paiva's pursuit of justice? Or maybe it's the reminder that even in the darkest of times, resilience, the human spirit, can prevail.
It all boils down to this.
Yeah.
How can we as individuals harness that power in our own lives?
Yeah, it's a powerful question to consider. It's not just about being a famous actor or filmmaker or anything like that. It's about, using your voice to make a difference in any way.
Right, in any way you can.
Yeah, absolutely. We all have stories to tell.
Yeah.
We have experiences that have shaped us.
And these unique perspectives that can really enrich the world.
And Fernanda Torres' story.
Yeah.
And the story of Eunice Paiva in I'm Still Here.
Right.
They remind us how important it is to speak up for what's right.
Absolutely.
To fight for justice,
Yeah.
and accountability, even when it's difficult.
Even when it's difficult.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier if it wasn't.
Right. They also, their stories underscore the enduring power of the human spirit, to overcome adversity and inspire change.
Eunice's tireless search for her husband.
Yeah.
Fernanda's dedication to portraying that story so authentically. And then the film's impact on audiences worldwide. It all kind of speaks to that potential that we each have to make a difference.
To make a difference, big or small. But, as we wrap up our deep dive, I hope you're left with a sense of inspiration.
Oh, absolutely.
And empowerment, really.
I hope so too. And I wonder, what will you take away from this exploration? Perhaps it's that reminder that art can be such a powerful force for social change. Or maybe it's the inspiration to use your own voice to advocate for what you believe in, whatever it may be. I encourage you to carry that inspiration forward and see how you can make a positive impact in your own way.
In your own unique way. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Fernanda Torres, and I'm Still Here. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.